There we go, just so that I can see more of your faces. So welcome to my session for today. It's my second year in a row, I should say, speaking at Pakistan Dreaming, and I'm really excited to be back here with you all today. So we're going to be talking today about choose your adventure and creating your perfect learning journey. And this is a topic that I absolutely love to talk about. So like I said, really excited to be here live with you all today and able to share this in real time and hopefully answer some questions. So keep all of your questions coming in the chat. My pre-recorded video was actually a little bit too long. So this way we'll be able to leave some time for some questions at the end. So first of all, no session would be complete without a huge thank you to all of our sponsors here today. So we have Or2, PDF Butler, Media Monks, GridMate, and of course the Trailblazer community. And I am just going to flip back over here. Yep, so everybody seems to be able to hear me okay. So just a quick intro to myself. My name, like I said, is Vicky. I am a 16-time certified Salesforce architect. My most recent one was just last month where I got application architect and feel like I can finally call myself an architect. And I'm also a certified instructor with Trailhead Academy. So you might see me delivering some of the free cert days or some boot camps on Trailhead as well. And I absolutely love doing those. And I am part of the Marketing Champion program, which is just a whole bunch of us out there who like to talk about Marketing Cloud and Pardot, basically, and speak at events like this, give back to the community. That's not what I'm doing here today. We're talking about more general learning instead. And I am also a 3 times mom. So you may see little heads pop up at some point. There's one now, right on cue. So, on the agenda for today, we are going to start with creating your learning adventure here today, because it really is a complete adventure with what you're learning, what you're doing. So first off, every story needs a beginning. Where does your adventure start? So that's sometimes the hardest question to work out, is where to get started. Salesforce is huge and there's so many things going on, so many possibilities, so many events like this to go to. So where do you start? How do you stay focused? So once we have our starting point, we'll be able to move on to mapping out your learning journey. And then, of course, sticking to it through all of the ups and downs. And I was just listening to the keynote earlier and didn't realize how well it would align, because it really is that staying motivated, staying on top of it, and even keeping up with your learning adventure when it starts to get really tough. So let's start with the beginning. Where does your story start? So you are the hero of your learning story. You're the hero of your learning journey. So you need to pick a path. And one thing I will say here is that just because you pick one path to start does not mean that that is going to be your forever path. I started at university as a bio major way back in the day, managed to have a twisted turning journey that brought me to a French major that I finished with, and then teaching English for years online, and then into Salesforce. So who knows where your path will end up taking you. But you do need a place to be able to start that focus, to be able to really dive into Salesforce. So I put a couple examples up here, and these are just very high level examples of where you can start. We have an administrator for an end user. So if you really like to own the Salesforce org that you're in, really get to know the business, get to know the people, get to know the business processes, then this is a great role for you. You'll be able to maintain ownership of that entire Salesforce org and really get to know and follow through with any projects that you're working on. Otherwise, you may become a specialized consultant. There are a ton of niche products out there. We heard about a few of them just earlier, but there's Field Service Lightning, there's Omni Studio, there's all of these really niche products that you could go into. And depending on your background, that might be a really great fit. If you've worked in a sales team, then specializing in Sales Cloud is right up your alley, because you know those processes, you know how those teams work. And same thing for a call center. If you've worked in a call center before, you'll be able to implement Sales Cloud, Service Cloud much better. And then we have our generalist architect as well. So it may be that you really like that communication with the end user, and you like that holistic view of a project, and being the one person that people come to be able to be a trusted advisor, really. And generalist is becoming more and more of a thing as we see all of these different products growing within Salesforce. We need that person who keeps everything together and is able to know at least a little bit about each one. And this segues very nicely into our certification paths. So I give full credit to Salesforce Ben for this one. We have a nice infographic here that you'll see is updated in May 2022. And the reason I love this one in particular is not just because it's color-coded, because I absolutely love color code, but it's also because it shows you really nicely what all of the prerequisites are. So where's your starting path? Where do you need to go down? So you have, for example, a certified administrator. And if you want to go down the consultant path, that's going to be a prerequisite for you. And it's a great place to start because you'll get to know the declarative point and click side of the platform before jumping straight into a code solution, for example. And that's part of the power of the Salesforce platform to begin with. So being able to know where your goal is, where that career goal lies, it allows you to better understand where you need to start and start to map out your certification journey. Which brings us to the next slide. So the certification journey, I put on here that no two paths will be the same. And I started to make this slide as a map of my journey. And I started to put all of my certifications on it and said, oh, wait a second, nobody is going to have the exact same journey that I did. No two journeys look exactly the same. We do certs in different order, but depending on what we're doing at work, where our interests lie, where our curiosity lies. So instead, I left this really general, really high level. It may be that you start with an administrator certification, and then you move on to user experience designer. That is one of the newer ones out there. And it's one of my favorites because it really is applicable across any job role that you go into. We're designing systems for people, for users. And it's really easy to forget that when we get excited about the tech, when we get excited about that new project that we're implementing. And really the user experience, what I took away from it was keeping the people first. Keeping the people always at the front end, the front and center of any project that you're working on. And then we also have that platform app builder that has a lot of overlap with your administrator certification as well. So the platform app builder is a great one to go to as a number 2. And then if you are deciding to do a niche product, Sales Cloud is one of the most sold ones out there. So Sales Cloud is a great place to go next if that's what you're interested in. And then I left a bunch of question marks up here because it is a question mark. You may not know what the next 5, 10 certifications are going to be. And that's okay. As long as you know what the next one is and where you're going right now, that's good enough. You don't have to have any pressure to have the whole thing mapped out. And things change too, all the time. Your priorities may change, your interests may change as well. So do also choose where my tips for you here, this is not in any way a must do, but my tips for you are choose certs that overlap. If you just finished admin, move on to app builder. If you just did the Pardot specialist, there's a lot of overlap with the Pardot consultant. And that way you keep the momentum going. You keep the momentum on your learning, on your project going, and you can just almost look at it as a little step up rather than something completely new that you're tackling. And get hands-on when you can. It's not always easy, but especially with some of these more niche products, because it's hard to get your hands on Marketing Cloud or Pardot practice spaces. But if you are learning, especially core, build things out in dev work. If we have time later, I'll take you on a little spin of my dev work where I track all of my learning. But make sure that you get your hands dirty when you can. Volunteer for those projects, even if it's a little bit outside of your comfort zone, especially if you're working for a consultancy. It might be that you have another project that you can take on that will help you to learn that product even better or even quicker. And let curiosity drive you, because if you're getting, I'm sorry about that. If you're Yes, completely lost my train of thought there. Let curiosity drive you. If you are waking up in the morning, really excited about sitting down at your computer and learning, reading those blogs, watching those YouTube videos, then that is a great opportunity to let your curiosity drive you. And it was just like they were saying in the keynote before, that 6-year-old mentality when we're really curious and asking all of those questions. It's great to try to embody that and keep following that in your learning journey. And that's how I got to where I am. I love being curious. I love learning new things. And this is the gas moment. So I even put a little cartoon character here. But Salesforce certs aren't enough by themselves. Do learn related topics really need and do learn related topics. And wait 1 second, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Just the littlest one trying to put in his 2 cents as well. So I'll hop back in here. Our learn related topics, we have different topics out there that are really useful to learn, such as Scrum, project management, DevOps. Any little bit is going to help you. Also, there's third-party apps as well. So learn things like Conga, Form Assembly, DocuSign. I know that's a lot of form-related ones. That's where my head is right now. But there's so many other, Capato, GearSet, all of those DevOps as well. If you learn these third-party apps, then you'll be getting a leg up as well. And you'll be able to have that toolkit that you really have as a go-to when you're starting to do your own projects. And bring your past skills with you as well. If you're completely new to Salesforce and just getting into Salesforce right now, then bring all of your past skill set. If you're a mom, like you saw my kids coming in, you learn how to multitask really well and be able to hopefully speak okay at a conference while juggling your kids on your lap. Or if you've worked in a restaurant, then you have all of those people skills to bring with you. It's really wherever your past is, then bring that with you. You're never starting from complete scratch. And this one, I just put this quote here that I really like that resonates with me. I want to see what happens if I don't give up. So you, like I said before, you are the hero of your own story. And even the heroes feel like giving up at some point. So find a study group or accountability buddy that's going to be that person that helps you to keep going, to keep going when things get tough, because they always do. Life throws things at you. Take things one day at a time. So if you make a calendar and you have your learning calendar in front of you, you know what you're going to be studying, you want to do 1 badge a day or whatever it is that your learning goal is. Well, if you have an off day and you just aren't feeling it, be kind with yourself. Give yourself that space. Take things one step at a time. If you take 1 day off from learning, just say, okay, I'm going to play video games. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to do whatever makes me feel good and makes me get my head back in the game. Then that's really important too. And you'll come back even more motivated and soak things in even easier when you come back the next day. So do keep things one at a time. Be firm but kind with yourself. Don't let yourself give up, but let yourself take a day or a couple of days off if you need to. And use motivational tools. So if you're the type of person who likes journaling or affirmations or whatever it is, go ahead and use whatever tools you can to keep going, to keep learning. And don't forget about your self-care. It's so easy to get swept away in the learning and feel like you need to be everywhere and learning everything at once and forget about taking care of yourself. And that's going to help you to learn even better is when you do take care of yourself. And I've been speaking to quite a few architects, CTAs lately, and they'll even say that self-care is so important during that process that they've gone through, and that even they don't know everything that's out there. So you're never going to know everything about Salesforce. It's just too big. And one way to stay motivated, and that really works for me, is tracking your progress. So I put a little image of my dev work here that I built out to start to track my progress, to see what I'm doing, what my certification journey looks like, but also all of my assignments that I'm doing. And this will help to keep you motivated. I have some nice dashboards that I've made for myself with some high-level metrics, and that'll help you stay motivated when you are feeling down, when you have those off days. So one good place to start if you're just getting into Salesforce is start with the Trailhead project, build your personal portfolio on Salesforce is the name of it. And if you do want more, sign up for a dev org and start building out your own learning app. So I promised a quick tour of mine. So this is it in person. And I have it broken down into different learning objectives so that, and these all have hierarchies in them because Salesforce exams have hierarchies in them. So all of the different learning objectives that I'm doing, I started to log my time. I'm not a time logger, so I stopped that really quickly. And I have the total assignments by type as well, because you can see what type of learning you're doing the most. And that helps you almost to analyze how your learning style is and how your learning journey is going. And for many of us in the Salesforce ecosystem, we have those analytic minds anyway, so something like this just really resonated. And then you can have your different assignments here, and you can see what you have in progress, what is completed, and be able to keep track of all of it too. So for example, if I come in here, I can show you what one of these looks like. If it wants to load, like I said, my internet's not super speedy here, but you can see the number of days that it took to complete this one. It is in progress. The assignment type is book, and I put the links and any notes in here as well. And that way you're just keeping everything in one place, and you can come back and look at everything that you have left to do or that you want to do in the future. And then do take advantage of all of the resources out here. This is where I feel like I'm repeating the keynote a little bit, but there are so many community groups out there, because so many community events. Really glad that some folks from inside of Salesforce were able to share some of those stats. And there's also so many blogs and YouTube videos out there as well. So go ahead and take advantage of them. We saw some people who are doing great work in Pakistan right now, creating courses and things like that. There was a YouTube course out there, Udemy and some other ones. So go have a look at all that's out there. And then of course, Trailhead, because Trailhead is where I got started. I got into Trailhead, got into the gamification, and started to get a little competition going on with one of my colleagues, and it turned into a career. So Trailhead is an awesome way to keep learning, to keep motivated. And no session on learning would be complete without the learning curve. So I really like this diagram. I didn't always know about this, but when you're learning, you have experience over time. And when you're learning, you get to this point where you say, okay, this seems fun. And then you get a dip and you say, well, what was I thinking? This was hard. And then you keep going up here. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. Oh, hey, I get it. And then, nope, I know nothing. So there's so many ups and downs when you're learning, and you hit what we call the learning plateaus. The learning plateaus are when you feel like you're not learning anything, but actually you are, and you might be learning quite a bit. So while it feels like this, actually your learning path looks like a complete diagonal until you get to that. What, that makes sense? Did I just do it? I did it. And that's going to be for the tiny goals, because like we said before, Salesforce is too huge. You'll never know I did it for everything. So I feel like that, just knowing that, it takes some of the pressure off. It makes it a little bit easier to get into it. So I know I'm getting towards the end of the session today. And like I said, I do want to leave it open for some questions at the end. So, oh, and I realized I forgot to do the referral form, and it is in here. Perfect. So if not, I'll do that really quick at the end. But do remember to celebrate each win, no matter how big, how small. Make learning a habit, and a little bit goes a long way. And I'd say I went really fast over that first one. Do make sure to celebrate, because it's so easy to get drawn up in the, oh, I got my next certification, now I'm going to start on the next one, or I hit this goal and I'm just going to go straight to the next one. But make sure to give yourself an evening, a day off, and just celebrate. whether that's going out to dinner with a friend or a loved one or whatever it is that makes you feel a little bit special, go ahead and do that and celebrate each little win. It could even be just showing up that day. Find a support group as well, and that could be mentors, it could be accountability buddies, or maybe just supportive family and friends that are out there who are celebrating with you. So it doesn't need to be necessarily completely in the Salesforce world. It's good to have all of those people out there in the Ohana, but get your family and friends involved. And don't give up, you do have this. So I'm like the cheesiness and put in a little image here, a little character, belief in yourself. You've got this, you can do it. And that's my encouragement to all of you. So I've put my information up here as a little thank you. I'd love to connect and be there cheering you on in your learning journey as you're going on your own Salesforce adventure. And if you ever need any tips, any advice, I don't always respond quickly, but I will respond. So catch me on LinkedIn. I actually shortened it to a bit.ly link, so you can find me there. And I'll put this into the chat too. Otherwise, if you search Vicki Moritz Henry, I'm pretty much the only one out there. And then I have my Twitter handle too. Those are the two places where I'm really active. So that's where you can find me the most. My Twitter is Vicki Henry at 63. So let me stop my screen share really quick. And that way I can make sure that I run this raffle correctly and that I answer some of your questions. So let me start to look through the chat really quick. Yeah, I see the comment from Mark. Yes, the tree keeps getting bigger on the certifications, and that is so true. I actually forgot to mention there that there's already at least 2 certifications that are missing from that one, and it's only came out in May. So there's the strategy designer that I'm not sure if that's on there or not. It might be. And there's the business analyst that is definitely not there as well. Raja, a copy of the presentation, absolutely. I'm happy to share this. It is just on my Google Drive, but I'll make it shareable, and I'll do that right now. So there we go. I'm sticking this into the chat for all of you. Like I said, it's just a Google Doc in here. Oh, thank you, Christy, for putting the Trailhead module in there as well. Yes, and the Salesforce org, another thing I forgot, is giving credit to Lilith Van Biesen for that one, because she had shared hers and inspired me to create my own. Does completing the Trailhead for Pardot, will it help you pass the Pardot cert? Definitely, it will. Some hands-on helps as well. But if you don't have access to it, then you could absolutely go through. If you're, I'd say a nice mix between Trailhead as a starting point and then the help documentation as well, and come onto a free certificate, or not for Pardot, for Marketing Cloud. But there's some really great Trailblazer communities out there as well, from community groups that help you to study for those exams as well. So that will also help for the Pardot cert in particular. And then I do have these raffle details. So let me go ahead and get these into the chat for you. And I know we're running up towards the end of time. So anybody who's still here, go ahead and click into that link right now. And this will take you to a form to fill out. And that way we can do a nice little raffle, and we are giving away some fun certification vouchers and gift vouchers as well. Other than Trailhead, good learning, a dev org. I'd say that one of my favorite ways of learning is trying to break whatever I'm doing. So definitely don't do that in somebody's production org. But getting hands-on in a dev org is a really great way to learn. One of my most recent certs was the sharing and visibility. And while I was sitting on the exam and with all of those scenario-based questions, it was actually that exact technique that really helped me on the exam, because I could think back to, okay, when I tried it out in the dev org, this was the result, so that answers that scenario. DevOps in Salesforce, that's a good question. Yes, DevOps is really, really a hot topic in Salesforce because it's getting so huge and there's so many different products, so many different things that we're trying to do that it's easy to misdeploy something. So DevOps is really helping us quite a bit, and GearSet Academy has a really, really good course on DevOps if you're interested in that. Yes, the presentation, I think I put that, it's the Google link right above, Raja. It is a Google document, but I've shared it and hopefully I did the right settings. Otherwise, yeah, anybody can view. So you should be set there. And then just because we're towards the end, let me go ahead and run this raffle really quick and let you go on to the next session because there's a lot of amazing people talking today.